Hey, welcome to my journey. Today's video is my weigh-in video. How did I do? Well, let's see. I weighed in at 308.8 for a loss of 5.8, and that puts me at 68.3. I am so close to that 70 mark. You see that right there? That's my little button jar that when I had reached 70 pounds lost, I put my button on there. I went down, and that's been so long ago, I can't even remember how long ago. Probably 2 years. Probably 2 years. I never have got back to 70. And the buttons are permanent when you put them on there. They're permanent. So I've just been waiting to get to 70, so then when I get to 75, I can do a new button. Now, here's the thing. No, let me show you something first, and then we're gonna talk about the thing. So I got a couple birthday cards today. So happy birthday from Jean Bailey. And then this one, I got the envelope, and I was feeling something sticking up. I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is. Kathy Woolsey, y'all know I love lizards. I don't normally show you the inside of my cards, but I'm like, okay, now I know what that was sticking up. It was eyeballs. So thank you, ladies, for my cards. Now here's what I just don't know. What video was it? Oh, Motivation Monday. I told you I'm having trouble eating out. We had trouble this weekend. We ate out more than once. We had ice cream. Did we have ice cream? Pretty sure we had ice cream. Oh, yeah, we had ice cream. And we ate out more than once. So we're getting back into that habit of where what we used to do is eat out anytime we want to do. And so we're swinging back that way. And we can't do that, because once we get into that habit, it's going to be so hard to break. I think we're to the point now where I can ease myself back to cooking on the weekend. Still maybe going out and having a treat meal, but not every weekend, and certainly not more than once a weekend. No. And not ice cream every weekend, which is what we've been doing, because I'm just craving the ice cream. So we did that. Oh, and I had donuts. I went and got my birthday meal from Sonny's. My coupon, I used it. And Sonny's is over there in the same area as Krispy Kreme. And I thought, what's better to go with my birthday supper than some birthday donuts? So I got us a box of donuts, and we ate them. Should I have gone? No. But I did. And here's the thing. I did good, and I do good on the weekdays. The weekdays I do what I'm supposed to do. It's the weekends that foul me up. But here's the thing. I'm going to get to the thing. I promise. I told y'all the last time I went to my primary care, she put me on Ozempic. That's the little once a week shot. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute too. It's for diabetes. I already take 2 pills for that. And remember I told you, my endocrinologist said if I take Ozempic, if my blood sugar comes down low enough, then I can start coming off those other 2 pills. Well, it ain't. It came down really low in the 60s when I did that colonoscopy prep, but it's not low. I had it low one other time, but it's not low. Even a couple times it's been high, and that's taking this pill. He told me if my blood sugar's too high, then I'm eating too many carbs. That's what he told me. I don't know how many times he told me that. So I really do need to watch my carbs. I need to eat more protein and less carbs, which y'all know my body responds well to less carbs. It does. My face slims down on, I call it carb face. I get that carb face when I eat too many of them. But that's what he told me. If your blood sugar too high, you ate too many carbs. So I'm going to be working on that. But a side effect, I don't know if you'd call it a side effect, a side action, a benefit, a bonus to Ozempic is it can cause weight loss. Now, I'm sure it don't in everybody because nothing works on everybody the same. But there are girls out there, I'm in a Facebook group, there are girls out there who are losing weight hand over fist. I mean, it is falling off of them. And they're taking this shot. Well, I've been gone. This coffee's good. I'll have a Dollar Tree and a thrift haul up tomorrow, I hope. If I get in there and get it filmed. The way the pill work, the way the shot works, the way it's supposed to work, is it titrates. So you start at like a 1/4 milligram, and then a 1/2 milligram, and then a milligram, and I think it goes up to 2. I've already gone through 4 weeks. 4 weeks of the 0.25. Last week was my first half, and today was my second half. So all during the 4 weeks of the 0.25, nothing. They say it's supposed to quell your appetite, make you not think about food, fill you up better, quicker. It's supposed to do all these things. Didn't do nothing for me. Didn't do nothing for me those 4 weeks. I still wanted to eat all the time. I was still hungry all the time. I wasn't getting full. It didn't do nothing. And then I take the shot last week. Well, I take them on Thursdays so I can remember I take it the day I weigh in. That's the day I take my shot. Last Thursday, I took it, and Friday and Saturday, I could hardly get out of my chair. Now, the first 4 weeks, I was tired on that shot. I was tired. That was one of the side effects that I had. Everybody has different ones. Some of them have some weird ones, some weird side effects. But mine was, I was just tired. I mean, just tired. And then last week, I was exhausted. Friday, it was 3:30 before I ever got out of my chair and did a little something and sit back down. Saturday, y'all notice I didn't have a prep video up. I couldn't do it. I could not drag myself over to that kitchen and make myself, and it was an easy prep too. Couldn't make myself do it. Could not force myself to do it. I was exhausted. Then Sunday came, fine as frog's hair. Like nothing even was wrong. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen this week. But here's the difference in this week. This week's shot, and I've always taken them in my thigh, my right thigh. Listen, this little, I have tried to take a shot in my stomach before years ago, and I couldn't do it. I never could get the first one in because I just couldn't do it. It was all in my head, and I sat back here for 3 hours trying to get that shot in. Finally, I just gave up and told the doctor, nope, not taking it. Couldn't do it. This one, I told my doctor, I said, I can't do it. She goes, yes, you can. She said, it's so tiny. She said, it's a tiny, tiny. Oh my gosh, that needle is teeny, let me tell you. You just put it on your leg, and it just kind of just falls in for you. You don't even feel it. It is just like painless, completely painless. Today, as soon as I put it in, my leg started hurting immediately. It is so sore. The top side area of my thigh is so sore, and I've been walking on it thinking I'll walk it out. No. It feels like I got jabbed by a real shot at the doctor. You know how they just like jab one in you? That's what it feels like. I don't understand that. I don't know how. I'm going to go on that message board, I think, on that Facebook group and ask if that's happened to anybody else. But here's what I'm not sure of. Was any of that loss me, what I ate? Now, I think they do say you need to try to eat healthy with it. Some people, I'm sure they don't, but they say you should try to eat healthy with it, which is what I've done weekdays. So was any of that loss me? Or was it all Ozempic? Was part of it Ozempic? I don't think there's no way it could have been all me, because I don't think I could have done well 5 days and off 2 days and lost almost 6 pounds. So I don't know. Listen, if I'm getting some help, I'll take some help. I'll take some help. I'll tell you that right now. So if that's what it's doing, hold on. I felt like something was crawling on me, but it wasn't. So I don't know what to tell you, but I've been eating good ever since the weekend's been over. So I don't know. You know what I had for lunch today? Beans and cabbage. I ate my beans. I put onions all over them, and I didn't eat my cabbage because I wasn't in the mood. But I told you leftovers was going. Oh, and I had some non-dippers with that buffalo chicken dip on it because I was still hungry. I told you we were going to eat leftovers. If you watch my menu plan, leftovers and the buffalo dip. This is what we have for leftovers: cabbage, field peas, mixed pinto beans and white beans, speckled butter beans. So I had a plate of 3 beans with the onions. That's what I ate for lunch with my non-dippers. Now, what I did do, because I wanted to rein some things in, I've been thinking about that carb situation. I didn't put any of my starches as zero food. I had potatoes and corn. I redid the assessment, and I didn't say I ate any of that stuff. So what I have is 0 point foods are the poultry, the fish, yogurt, eggs, and vegetables. I have to count my fruits too. But you'd be surprised, like half a cup of pinto beans is only 2 points. Big whoop-de-doo. And it upped my points from 32. Oh, I didn't look today. Oh, did it change me today? It had upped me to 41. So I wonder, with that loss, did they take points away? I tell you what, I'll put it on the screen right here. I'll put up how many points I get. And that's because I don't have very many 0 point foods. That's why I get so many. And because of my size. I told y'all before, do not be jealous of my points, because you have to be a big girl to get those points. And you would just as soon live with fewer. Now, I told David, I said I didn't film my what I ate. I didn't film my weigh-in this morning because I had nothing to talk about. Nothing. I said I can't think of a thing. Normally things happen during the week. I'm like, oh, I'll talk about that. Ain't nothing happened. Been just as boring as just an old shoe. So I come back here and I sit down to set my phone up and everything, and something run across my mind that reminded me of RJ. I can't even think now what run across my mind. I thought, okay, I'm gonna give you some RJ and some Holly stories. How about that? So when RJ was little, he liked to play practical jokes. He's not that way as an adult. He wasn't that way as a teenager. He wasn't that way as a preteen. It was just when he was little. The first thing he ever did, this was back when you could actually call your doctor and they would call you back and talk to you on the phone. I don't know if they still do that or not, but they had on-call doctors 24 hours a day. And he was, still new to me. He was like maybe 2 years old. Well, we were at Mama's house and he was in there sitting on her lap at the table and they was eating something, I don't know what. And she said, Kim, she goes, there's something wrong with this baby's mouth. I said, what you talking about? Because, listen, I was so overprotective of that child. She said, right here, feel that right there. So I felt it. It was a knot right there. I mean, a knot. I kept rubbing it, and she kept rubbing it. We're like, what is it? What? We're talking about it, rubbing it. He's just sitting there. He just, he's just sitting there. So I go in there and I call the doctor. I get the message put in to have the doctor call me back. In the meantime, RJ sits over there and spits it out, and it was a maraschino cherry. So whatever they were sitting there eating, they had cherries in it. He had pushed that maraschino cherry up in there and was just holding it in there, just while we was talking about it, pushing it, and all this and that. Well, the doctor was calling me back. It was too late. I done put the call in, so he called back, and I said, I am so sorry to bother you, but it was a maraschino cherry. He was dying laughing. I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. So that began his little bout of little practical jokes. He also did little, like he was in the nursery. He only stayed in daycare one time for a year. I stayed with him the whole rest of his life. And that's when I got a job working in Charlotte for a year. He stayed in the daycare. Every single day I would drop him off, and he was 3. Was he 3? Every single day, or 4, I dropped him off. He would scream, and I wore dresses to work, and skirts. He would pull on my clothes, screaming, pulling my skirt down. I'd be like, oh, killing me. Now, I had to go to South Charlotte, so I had a good long drive, and I smoked at the time, and I had my IROC Z at the time, and so I would be sitting in that traffic, having my cigarette, had that window down, having my cigarette with my music on, nervous wreck, just puffing away, thinking about that child sitting back there at that nursery, just crying, wanting his mommy. Well, I was telling the teacher about it one day. She goes, this is what I want you to do. She said, when you get him down and he comes in this room and I shut that door, I want you to come look through that window. So he does his crying and pulling and carrying on. I pull him loose of me. She gets him in the room. I act like I'm walking away. I go back and look at that window. Over there playing like I ain't even been there. It was just a big, I'm like, you mean I've been crying and worried all the way to Charlotte for this? So that stopped. But they called me one day and said, RJ had a rock up his nose. I'm like, what? Says, yeah, he put a rock up his nose. What do you want us to do about it? I said, did you tell him to blow it? They said, no. I said, tell him to blow it. He blew it out. I'm like, he knows how to blow his nose. But his other practical joke, y'all know pokeberries? Okay, poke salad is something it's a weed, popular down here in the South. I mean, everywhere. When it's a young tender plant, you can pick the leaves off and make a delicious salad out of it. And my roommate in college, her mama, they lived in the mountains. She wasn't far from the college. And her mama was this country. She made me some when I would go to the house. And you do a hot bacon grease and vinegar dressing on it and wilt them greens down. Oh my, and onions. Oh my gosh, you talking about good old country cooking. What I wouldn't do for some of that right now. So anyway, when it grows up, it gets these purple berries on it, right? Well, when you mash them, it is like dye. You can dye paper, clothes. Well, I'm sure pokeberries are very popular for dyeing things. Well, where we lived in the trailer, there was a horse pasture behind us, and the horse was in there part of the time, and then I don't know what happened to him, but it was kind of growed up. But RJ, he lived down in that pasture because he could go through the thicket, he could go around in the trees, he could go all kind of places, pick blackberries, whatever he wanted to do. And he had a machete. Let me just tell you, I would not, he laughs about it to this day, I would not let him have a pocket knife because I was afraid he'd hurt himself. But I let him have a machete. He's 5 years old, walking out in the pasture by himself with a machete. He was a little country boy, let me tell you. Wearing his little cowboy boots when he was little. That was like 2 sizes too big. Oh my gosh, so cute. So he comes running up there, Mama. Well, Mommy at the time. Mommy, Mommy. He's holding his hand like this. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And it is just like bloody. I mean, bloody. And I am freaking out. I'm like, what did you do? What did you do? So I'm freaking out to the point to where he starts laughing. Holds out the pokeberries. I'm like, well, I'm going to skin you from here to yonder. So he got me on the pokeberries. Now, one time he got us, and it was scary. That's when we got a satellite dish. Y'all remember the satellite dishes the size of a UFO? Y'all remember them? Okay, well, we got us one. And part of something to it came in a big box. I don't know if we got a free TV out of it. I don't know, but there was a box of something that came to it. We had a nice little back porch his daddy built. They had it sitting on the porch. Well, I went to look for RJ. He wasn't there. I hollered out his name, called all up in the house. He wasn't there. Hollered out in the pasture. He wasn't there. So then I start getting worried. Start hollering. Well, I get the whole street. It's a dirt road. There's 1, 2, 3 houses of people walking up and down the road, walking out through the woods over on the other side, out to the goat pasture, everywhere. Next thing you know, I'm on the porch, and that little jumps up out of the box and says, here I am. I wore his hiney out and told him if he ever hid from me again, he would be sorry. Listen, I had to wear him out. I didn't have to whoop him very often, but I whooped my kids if they needed it. Holly, I don't think ever got whooped. She'd never do nothing to get whooped for. RJ only did a couple times. They was good children, but they were still children. But I had to make him know it was serious enough to garner a whooping. If he got whoopings all the time, it'd be like, big deal, I got a whooping. No, if you got a whooping, it was serious. So I had to let him know it was serious and not to ever do that again. Because I'm going to tell you what, listen, one time, he was 2 years old maybe. He goes busting out we had those windows that went to the floor, and his bedroom was at one end and ours was at the other, and his windows was to the floor. Ours wasn't. Why they would put the child's windows to the floor, not the master bedroom, is beyond me. But anyway, there was a trailer across the street where we were going to live, but there was a big long story over that. So we bought one and put it on the other neighbor's land, moved across the street. Well, there were people living there that had children, and he would go over and play with them sometimes. I'm in there in the kitchen. I go in there to get him. He has done pushed that screen out that window, and it is probably, if I was out there, it's probably this high, and jumped at that window, and he was over across the street playing with them little children. Not a street driveway that just a few houses lived on. So that's just some of the that's just some of the things that little boy did. Now Holly, girls are so different. I'll tell you what, girls are so different. Little boys are they're just rambunctious, and they're just little boys. And little girls are just, Holly was just so dainty. She was just, everything was just like this. You take her Halloween out trick-or-treating. You know how kids grab the candy? She would reach in there and get one piece. That's all she would do. And they would tell her, you can have more. You reach in there and get one piece. That's how she's been. She's always been that her whole life. Well, when she was 4, we had the big room. We hadn't tore apart yet, so it was still usable as a living room, but like the back part was where we stored wood, where we were working on some things. So we worked on some things to live here, and then we ripped it apart to fix it like it should be. You know what I mean? My coffee table was my cedar chest, my hook chest I was telling y'all about the other day. That was my coffee table. Well, she was jumping on the couch, and me and her daddy was both in the living room with her. We kept telling her, quit doing that, you're going to get hurt. She just kept jumping. She would not listen. That's not like her. She listened. She would not stop jumping on that couch. Well, she jumped one time and she missed the couch and she hit that coffee table. Well, we told you if you kept jumping, you was going to get hurt. Well, she wanted to sleep with RJ that night, so she slept with RJ. I went in there the next morning, and she was 4 years old, and went in there to get her up, and she stood up on the bed like she'll stand up and I'll pick her up and carry her, you know. She wouldn't put that foot down. That leg that she hit, she wouldn't put it down. I'm like, what's the matter? She said, it hurt. I'm like, can you put it down? She said, no, she's crying. She won't put it down. She won't walk on it. So I'm carrying her. She's hopping. I'm like, well, I guess we better go to the doctor. I mean, if you can't put it down, you say it hurts. So I called him. I'm like, I got to bring her in. There's possibly something wrong with her leg. Did I think it was broke? No. Maybe sprained. I take her. The doctor looks at it. He says, well, I'm pretty sure it's not broke, but we'll do an x-ray anyway. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it is either. He comes back with that x-ray. He goes, well, it's broke. I'm like, I started crying on the spot. I am the worst mommy in the world. It was broke and I let her suffer with it all night. It was, oh my gosh, it was awful. It was a scene. So that little child at 4 years old had to stay at a cast for 6 weeks, full straight cast, her whole foot all the way up to her thigh, the top of her thigh, in a wheelchair. They wouldn't let her walk on it. No, not weight bearing at all, not anything. So everything she did for 6 weeks was from that little kid's wheelchair. It was pitiful. But during that time, we watched Mulan 104,000 million trillion times. Her daddy bought her this little, it's like a bed tray, wood tray that the legs fold out, and it fit perfectly on top of her wheelchair across the arms. She would sit there and play on it. She would eat on it. She would color on it. Everything she wanted. We still got it. We have still got it. And that is what she did for 6 weeks. And then in the 5th grade, she had to have meniscus surgery on her knee. She kept complaining her knee would hurt. I'm like, well, we're going to go to the doctor. And the doctor said, yeah, again, now this is an orthopedic doctor. He goes, I don't think there's nothing to it. He said, but we're going to take some x-rays. He come back in there and he goes, I am sorry. He said, she has just got way too much meniscus. So they had to go in and take a lot of it out. And she wouldn't step on it then in the 5th grade, but he told her, had she not had the surgery, she wouldn't have been walking before long. She wouldn't have been able to walk at all. So we were glad she had that. But I'm trying to think what else was I going to tell you about Holly? She didn't do anything, like no tricks, just play. I told you about playing in the blue carpet with the blue clothes on. We weren't supposed to see her, and she would play restaurant, and she would come in there and you would order a cheeseburger and a Coke. We don't have Coke, you'll have tea. You order a hot dog and a Pepsi. We don't have hot dogs, you'll have chicken nuggets. That's how she did us. She loved us playing restaurant with her. She loved us playing store with her. She loved us playing school with her. And her daddy tells her to this day, he says, I can still see you sitting in that floor with all your little animals and baby dolls all sitting around, and each one of them had their papers in front of them. And she would go through and she would do each paper for each person so that they would be filled out. She would work each paper for each little baby or animal, and she played school. And if they were bad, she got them. I'm gonna tell you what, she scolded them. She was tough, but she had this. I don't know. She might still have it. She might have it saved somewhere. She had this one jean skirt that she absolutely loved. So when we would go to church on Wednesday nights, our thing was, it was just me and her. We would stop, get a drink, and she would get flaming hot Cheetos. And this was when she was, oh my gosh, this was pre-middle school, something like that. Maybe 2005. That tells you something, because she graduated in 2013. So yeah, we'd get a drink, she'd get flaming hot Cheetos. That denim skirt on the right side had a permanent orange stain all the way down the front, because she would eat and wipe her hands, permanent orange stain down the front of that skirt. It was so fun. Oh my gosh, I'll tell you what. There's plenty more stories about my children if I could think of them. I mean, obviously, Marty's going to be 36 and Holly's 27. I don't know where the time goes. I just don't know where the time goes. But I guess that's all I know today. So 308.8 minus 5.8, 68.3. And frankly, I don't really care how I lost it. The fact is, I lost it. If it was me, if it was Ozempic, if it was both, I'll take it. I need all the help I can get, and I will take it wherever I can get it. So it's like Joan said the other day, everybody's got to do what's right for them. I've said it before too. Our journey is our journey. Can't nobody tell us how to do it. So that is it for me today, and I will see you. I'll probably go in there a little bit and do my haul, and I'll have it put up tomorrow. So I guess I'll see you then. All right, bye.